Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the show today, China Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a winter aid distribution in Luodian's Muyin Middle School. In our continuing look on the impact of the Belo Monte Dam, we take a look at the changes for residents living along the Xingu River as construction continues. And in Malaysia, the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter is holding a year-end blessing ceremony with more than 10,000 local residents taking part. In China's Guizhou province, Tzu Chi volunteers are holding their winter aid distribution in Luodian's Muyin Middle School. Despite the cold weather, volunteers are doing what they can to bring relief items to those in need, and their efforts have moved many of the school's students to lend a helping hand as well. Let's take a look.
Here at Tzu Chi's winter aid distribution held in Muyin Middle School of Luodian County, students are here to lend a helping hand. Despite the cold weather and below 0-degree temperature, Tzu Chi volunteers continue their work to help the needy. And students help carry bags of rice to speed up the distribution process.
I'm actually quite nervous of the coming exams, but I still wanted to come and help.
We heard that these aunties and uncles were here for charity work, and we are really moved, so we wanted to help.
Among the residents, Yang Liangfen left home before dawn and walked for over 3 hours to get to the distribution venue. Tzu Chi volunteers first take her inside the classroom and give Yang a cup of hot ginger tea before providing her with their own winter jackets and socks to help her get warm. After some 10 minutes of rest, the woman finally regains her strength. Picking up rubbish with Tzu Chi volunteers at the distribution venue is Yang Xi, a government worker who only moved here in the recent years.
When I first arrived, my first thought was that I wanted to serve my people. As a committee member of the village, I should not only serve my people, but also lead by example.
The volunteers next visits residents door to door and first meets a couple, where the husband expresses his gratitude towards his wife for taking on all the family responsibilities.
You turn around and turn your chair a little bit more. Look at her in her eyes. Look over this way and tell her. Let's do that again. Hold her hands and look into her eyes.
Seeing the warm interaction between Tzu Chi volunteers and residents, a first-time volunteer is deeply moved.
I never used to believe it, but it was teacher Yang who brought me here. I have been here for 5 days, but tomorrow I can't stay here with you all. I have to go back to work tomorrow.
In the remote areas of Luodian live many elderly residents who, despite their difficult living environment, remain optimistic and thus are an inspiration for all.
In China's Hunan province, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a winter aid distribution in Ningxiang County of Changsha City to hand out aid supplies to 1,141 families from remote areas. One local volunteer, Ling Xiaoping, who with limited mobility still managed to help out at the distribution site in hopes of showing her love to the neighbors and friends in her hometown.
As the aid distribution begins, Lin Xiaoping carefully checks the size for each recipient. It's hard to imagine that this kind volunteer actually suffers from a condition which makes it difficult for her to stand for a long time.
My waist and legs really hurt. Sometimes my joints are stiff. But when I am working as a volunteer, I forget the pain.
knowing that the most important thing is to personally hand out aid supplies to her neighbors and friends in Changsha City. Lin brought the crutch to assist her to move around freely.
My legs cannot sustain my own weight, so I use the crutch to help me move around faster and to catch up with other volunteers.
We told Sister Xiaoping that her presence is the greatest support to us, but she still does whatever she can to help.
Facing her sickness and the passing of her husband, Lin once felt depressed in life. Thanks to Ziji, she rediscovered happiness in helping the less fortunate. Some 100 volunteers joined this aid distribution held in Ningxiang County to hand out daily necessities, including rice and clothes to 2,752 residents living in remote areas. Though the temperature is below zero, Ziji's love and care bring warmth to the needy.
As it is Ziji's first time holding a winter aid distribution in Hunan's Changsha in over a decade, local volunteers took on the responsibility of coordinating the event. Despite having only participated in past distributions, with help from their counterparts in Guangzhou, volunteers ensured the event turned out to be a success. Let's take a look.
With boxes of relief items and medical supplies, over 30 Tzu Chi volunteers are traveling some 700 kilometers from Guangzhou to Hunan's Changsha. Upon their arrival, volunteers received a warm greeting from their fellow volunteers. Though this is the first winter aid distribution held in Changsha in over a decade, local volunteers can relax knowing they have the support of the Guangzhou volunteers. Those with more experience share their knowledge, while the volunteers who are organizing the event for the first time pay attention to the details.
那就今天要做到，明天要奉上给到我们，是这个意思啊。
所以其实你就找一个对口，把那些都给他，请他帮你其他人家跟这样就好。
I have to think of everything. It is quite simple for experienced volunteers, but for us first-timers, we are not just a bit nervous. In fact, we are terrified.
For volunteers in Changsha who have only participated in distributions, coordinating the event is a new challenge to overcome.
你的放一排，男的放一排，男的放一排，女的放一排，单不是分单排就好。
Despite having attended many distributions in the past, it is volunteer Xiao Ziwei's first time in taking part in the coordination of such an event. He realizes it is no easy job to ensure everything runs smoothly.
Right now, I feel that this is completely different to before. It is only after today's event that I realized that there are so many details to pay attention to. If we want to warm the heart of residents, we must really be more mindful.
Volunteers all realize the more they devote themselves, the more joy they gain in the process.
Staying in China but in Fuzhou, on January 11th, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a winter aid distribution in Changshan district. The relief supplies, including rice and other daily necessities, were handed out to a total of 2,211 people. The event was joined by more than 100 volunteers, and most of them were local children, who said that it was an honor to help those in greater need. For the past 8 years, Tzu Chi has been holding winter aid distributions in Fuzhou, China. This time, Tzu Chi volunteers are organizing an aid distribution in Changshan district for the very first time. Throughout camera, a senior expresses his thanks to Tzu Chi volunteers.
I'm very happy to receive these relief supplies from Tzu Chi. It warms my heart, and please pass on my thanks to Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan.
The relief supplies from Tzu Chi lessen our financial burdens and improve our living conditions. I just want to thank all of you and Tzu Chi. Thank you.
80-year-old Lin Kongxiang is handicapped in one leg. Therefore, a volunteer attentively accompanies the senior to his car that is now packed with aid supplies. Meanwhile, many youngsters are also helping out at the winter aid distribution.
The weather is cold today, but to be able to help out makes me very happy, and I don't feel cold.
It is an honor to help those in greater need. So I'm very happy.
Today, my mother asked me to come and help out. It is great to be able to help those in need. It makes me happy.
In addition to these young volunteers, the president of the Enterprises Association in Fuzhou also joined the volunteers' ranks. He says that the winter aid distribution would definitely benefit the lives of low-income families and promises to spread Tzu Chi's great love further into Fuzhou. When it comes to economic advancement, environmental concerns are often pushed to the backburns, and those who live close to nature receive the burns of the impact and little benefit. In continuing with our report on the impact of the Belo Monte Dam, we take a look at how lives will continue to change once the dam is finished for those who live along the Xingu River. Here's more.
A diferença da água.
Here in Brazil, during the dry season, Xingu River's water level is 1/5 of its normal height. At this time, if fishermen are not careful, there is the danger of crashing into the submerged reefs.
Because all we can see are rocks, so we have to be very familiar with this river, like how we are traveling this short distance. If unfamiliar with this river, it will be like we run out of paths to walk on, as tributary rivers are only for those very familiar with them.
If dry season water level persists throughout the year, for these residents, getting stuck on the river seems to be just the beginning of their problems.
E naturalmente 80 centímetros no verão.
The natural water level hits the rocks at around 80 centimeters. That already makes the water warmer. If water levels are reduced further, then the rocks will absorb more of the sun's heat, causing the water temperatures to rise, and that's when the river's fish will disappear.
Along the Xingu River, many residents fish for a living, not only for food, but also as a way to make ends meet. This husband and wife team is heading to Altamira to sell their catch. It's very easy to catch fish in the Xingu River. Many fishermen will cast their nets across the river at night and reap the rewards from this abundant source in the morning. However, lately it seems as if the well has run dry.
It's been 6 hours already. 3 fish in 6 hours is not normal.
Growing up with the river, these children are already old hands at fishing. Nevertheless, 1 net, 1 hour, how much fish can they catch? Although the dam is still under construction, yet the damages it has caused are already significant.
Os trabalhos.
Asking those who live by the river and those who fish for a living, everyone has reported that fish yields have decreased by 80%. For example, if it was 100 kilograms before, it's now down to 20 kilograms.
Ripancisto zebra, o L46.
Zebrafish and zebra plecostomus are 2 fishes that are native to the Xingu River. Following the construction of the dam, the habitat of these 2 species of fish will be destroyed.
In a step to protect these fish specific to the Amazon region, starting November 15, 2012, local fishermen were subsidized by the government to not catch any fish for 4 months. But is this really a solution for these fishermen?
Assim como a gente se comove com os terremotos.
In the same way we fear earthquakes, tsunamis and pollution in the environment, we can think of the dam as also something that destroys life. In living in this ecosystem of ours, if humans only think for themselves, what chance do the animals and plants have to survive?
Altamira, a small town near the Xingu River, continues to expand with the development of the Belo Monte Dam. Tomorrow, we take a look at how residents there are preparing themselves for the changes ahead. Moving to our next story, in Taiwan, Tzu Chi's year-end blessing ceremony in Taichung was held at the recently built Jingsi Hall. Since the construction started on the building 4 years ago, every day more than 70 working crew and volunteers devoted themselves to the building of the Jingsi Hall. With its completion, Tzu Chi volunteers hope to encourage more people to join the Buddhist NGO. This is the footage from May of 2008 when the construction of Taichung Jingsi Hall began. The Jingsi Hall is approximately 7,933 square meters and has a total of 10 floors. In December of 2009, a topping out ceremony was held on site.
We paid attention to 3 concepts when building the Jingsi Hall, and those were safety, eco-friendliness, and quality. We built the place with these concepts in mind.
From the day construction of the Jingsi Hall began, every day 10 Tzu Chi volunteers prepare lunch for the working crew and even sometimes help out around the construction site.
Some of the work was hard labor, but we weren't tired because all of us volunteers came to cultivate this field of blessings willingly.
Thanks to the love and care that Tzu Chi volunteers put in during the construction of the Jingsi Hall, it is a place now filled with Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit. Now that the hall is finished, volunteers hope to cultivate more people to walk the Bodhisattva path. Moving to Southeast Asia, in Thailand's Nakhon Sawan province, which lies around 230 kilometers outside of Bangkok, Tzu Chi volunteers held another free clinic in which team of doctors saw a total of 169 patients. Doctors not only prescribed medication, but also took time to offer their patients advice on how to live a healthier lifestyle. Let's take a look.
As over 100 local volunteers, team of doctors and students prepare for the upcoming free clinic here in Nakhon Sawan province, Tzu Chi volunteers in Bangkok drove 4 hours to lend a hand.
Today there are many different organizations who are here to help. However, before no one was able to say for certain if they would be able to participate or not, and therefore we were unable to get an accurate head count. But in the end, many people showed up to help.
The hand of 74-year-old Swan mysteriously swelled up over the past week. To see why, doctors took his blood pressure and also conducted a detailed exam.
The doctor told me that I have to start taking some medication and not to eat certain foods. Other than that, I'm fine.
In order to help 65-year-old Chalue feel more secure about her health, doctors not only prescribed medication, but more importantly, also instructed her on how to protect her health in the future.
Today, I had a chance to speak a while with the doctors. Before at other hospitals, doctors would never take time to talk with me. They would just write me a prescription and send me home.
We have today off from school, and although it means I can't go home, it makes me happy to be able to use this time to do good deeds. Although I'm just helping out a little, I'm still giving to these villagers.
Students accompany those patients waiting to be seen and also serve them tea, ensuring that patients at the clinic are taken care of from start to finish.
In Malaysia, the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter organized this year's year-end blessing ceremony together with the Tzu Chi Klang branch. Over 10,000 local residents participating in this special occasion, which took place on January 13th. A total of 4,000 stage volunteers, all of whom pledged to a vegetarian diet for 108 days, performed the musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra. The story of Tzu Chi volunteer Chen Mingchang was also brought to stage to inspire members of the audience to reflect and repent.
On this day, over 10,000 members of the public gathered here at Stadium Melawati Shah Alam in Malaysia to attend the annual year-end blessing ceremonies organized by the Tzi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter. Following 3 months of vigorous practice and study groups, the year-end blessing ceremonies saw a total of 4,000 stage volunteers take to the stage to convey the significance of the Water Repentance Sutra. In addition, the organizing committee also brought the story of Tzi volunteer Chen Mingchang to the stage. Facing his past with bravery, Chen stands in front of the audience and repents for his past mistakes.
If it were not for Tzi, I would have lost my family.
It's a lesson to be learned for us youth. Family is important and we should care for them more.
As the lights are lit, members of the public sincerely pray for a world free of disaster. And upon receiving Master Zheng Yan's blessing and wisdom-read envelopes, all promise to live a more meaningful life in the year ahead.
Back to China, Tzi volunteers in Guangdong's Dongguan have been visiting residents at nearby nursing homes for several years now. Recently, they paid another visit to 2 of the city's nursing homes earlier in January. Also in attendance were several local volunteers who help out on performances and bring comfort to the residents. Here's more.
Putting on a show of her Tai Chi, the senior seems much younger than her actual age of 75.
If they are willing to study Tai Chi, I can teach them a few simple moves. I don't have any other way to give. By doing so, I can bring some joy into our lives.
Tzi volunteers are regular visitors here at this nursing home in Dongguan. Recently, an increasing number of local volunteers have been joining Tzi in bringing love and care to these seniors.
I always hoped that I could be part of such activities, as they help out our body and mind, as well as those of the seniors. It's a great thing we are doing.
Some volunteers prepared a simple song for the seniors to enjoy, as well as health exercises. Other volunteers took the time to massage tight shoulders and necks. While at the Zhongtang nursing home, volunteers helped residents cut their nails as they chatted with them. Although what the volunteers are doing is nothing complicated, for the residents at these nursing homes, it means all the world, as it shows them they are not alone or forgotten.
Staying in China at the end of the show, on January 13th, Guangdong Tzi volunteers held a winter aid distribution in Hengli town of Dongguan City. As most of the recipients were seniors, Tzi volunteers thoughtfully held the event at the local nursing home, as it is more convenient for these elderly people. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.